All right, I'm looking at another fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're starting us with chill. I'm kind of thinking CH would be good. Let's do shoot. We'll just jump down the lying shoot, I guess. I don't know. One of the H's is a lie, so we know the C's are true. Okay, so if we want to have the H, then the T and the E would have to be true. So we could do something like this. But what would that be? Interesting, because we could do another H, but well, and you could do the H there at the end instead, but then the H would be the lie and chill as well, which isn't terrible, because if we have the H, if we do HET, then we need to have an I or an L is the problem. So maybe that's not terrible. Let's go ETH maybe, or EA. Well, we could do Heath. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay. Well, okay. One of the E's is a lie, so we know there's no H. So that's the lie. These are true. We also know that the T is true. And the E, it could be that both E's are lies, and we've got ATE. That would work. And then new letters. Let's do great. See if that's a great guess. We know this is true. One of the A's is a lie, so there's no E. So that's the lie. This is true. If there is the A there, well, no, the A is the lie. The A is the lie. Okay, so if there is an A, then it can't be third. So I'm thinking there's no A, in which case we could do GR and T. What would this be? I don't know. I mean, we could just have the T, new letters. That's possible. But what's gonna come at the end? Well, we could do something like potty. Why not? Okay. Well, we know this is true. Wow. Okay. We can't do pouty. I don't know if is that right? Pouty? For some reason that doesn't feel right, but we can't do that anyway. So if the P was the lie because it was there, is there anything that would? I don't think that's gonna work. And if we have, let's go back. If we do the G and we have an A somewhere else, if there's no P, then the O, TY, you can't do that because the A has to be somewhere. And so the O or the Y has to be the lie. So you have to have a P. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. I think this has to be the lie. These are true. Okay, so the P can't be the lie because it's supposed to be green. It could be the lie because it's not in there. If the P is true, at this point, we almost have to have an O. Could we do this and not have the Y? It'd almost have to be an S at the end. You could almost do spotty, except you need two T's in spotty. I think it's the P that's the lie, and I think we're doing this. Well, Monty. Monty would work, like the full Monty. Okay. Well, one of the Y's is a lie. The O is definitely true. We already knew the T was true. Could this be the lie? Is that possible? That would make it would have to be top D then, wouldn't it? Well, or yeah, because the P would be true. So that's not gonna work. That's got to be true. If there's not a Y at the end, if the P is true, I mean, it's not going to be TP. It would have to be PT, but I don't see how that works. And then this Y would be, the gray Y would be true. You'd have to have an N or an M. No. No, it's not going to work. It's got to be, this is the lie, this is true, this is the lie. And we just, I haven't found the right. Like lofty would work, but there's no L. Oh, we could do another O. We could do OOTY. Like footy or booty or sooty maybe? Footy? Okay, well, it's definitely OOTY because these are true. This is the lie, so these are all true. So booty. I should have thought of that a lot earlier. I did the double T up here, and then I was trying to figure out what other letter could go between the O and the T. Of course it's a double letter. It's always the double letter, like I said, I think maybe yesterday. All right, well, we got there in the end, even though it took a bunch of guesses. So let me know if you had a great solve, or if you solved it on the potty, I guess. I don't know. Or playing footy. Either way, leave me a chill comment about how it went. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.